So this is an interesting plant to grow, right? The maidenhair fern. So there are many types of them. There's in fact 200 different types of them, right? And the most common ones have these fan-shaped leaves and black stems that look like hair, right? That's how they got their name. So I wouldn't say maidenhair ferns are the easiest plants to grow, but with the right growing environment, if you set everything right, if you know how to create the environment that they need, they are basically easy to take care of. Right, so the best way to understand what kind of care they need, right, is to use the grow method. Right, so if you haven't downloaded my ebook called Grow, make sure you click on the link below and download it for free today. So the Grow book, it has everything that you need about the grow method. Right, that's how I put all these different strategy, different tactics, and the overall framework into this ebook just for you. So the grow method is a way to identify the growing conditions in their natural habitat. Right? And then with the understanding, with the identification, we can then recreate the same in your own garden, in your own growing environment. So when plants grow in the same conditions as what they have in their natural habitat, as what they have in the wild, but they will grow with less stress. And with less stress, they will grow to their full potential. So there are 5 growing conditions that we need to find out and how we can create them, right? Create all these 5 growing conditions in our own garden or home. So let's search online, look for photos of wild maidenhair ferns, right? Just Google and you will see many photos of them growing in the wild. So the first growing condition that we looked at is light. So if you look at the photos of these ferns in the wild, right? So can you see that they are usually found growing on trees, on the branches or in between the rocks or in the undergrowth, right? So that would mean that most of the time the plants are only getting like a few hours of direct sunlight, or there's no direct sunlight at all and really just bright light throughout the day. So if we are going to grow this at our own homes, in our own garden, we will want to give them the same kind of growing conditions. So we will want to grow them in like a bright spot with partial sunlight. Right? So like windows, balconies, a shaded spot in the garden, or a table by the window. Yeah, they may work too. Right? So that's light. The next condition that we looked at is water. So if you look closely at some photos, right, you will see that they are growing in very moist places. You see dew, you see water, right? You see those moisture in the photos. So we should always grow them in the soil where the soil needs to be kept moist at all times, right? Never let it to dry up. So I will never say that you should water once or twice a day to keep it moist, right? But because everyone's environments are just different, right? So you may need to water a few times a day while others only need to water once. So there's no fixed regime, fixed rule to follow. Right? The general rule of thumb is to always keep the soil moist and never let the soil dry out. So next up, we looked at humidity. So in the jungle, they are found among the other plants, right? And in the very moist environment, the humidity level is definitely high. So in order to keep and maintain high humidity, right, we need to keep them away from winds, right? As strong winds or even breeze, right, they tend to draw moisture away from the plants. So grow them in spots where there are less wind, right? Where there are less winds, or grow them among plants so that humidity level is always kept high. Right? The next condition, the fourth growing condition that we looked at is potting media, right? The soil. So from the photos that we see them growing in the wild, we can see that they are found in between rocks. They are on branches, right? In between the branches. So basically, they don't need a very large pot to grow well, and uh, water tend to be draining as well, right? Because they don't sit in pools of water for prolonged periods of time, right? They are in between rocks and branches where water just flow away very quickly. So I would use good draining soil like burnt earth with compost, right? 1:1 mix, that will do. And maybe add a thin layer of sphagnum moss on top, right? To keep the potting medium moist. But also at the same time, allow the excess water to drain out easily. So it does sound a little bit complex, right? But if you focus on the condition, right, it is pretty straightforward. So all you need is to keep moist and let the water drain out well. So you can use various ways, you can use different ways to create that same growing condition. And that's the fun of gardening, right? You are free to create anything you want based on these rules. Right? And the last growing condition that we looked at is feeding. So maidenhair fern, they are found in cracks of rocks or on the tree branches where nutrients are pretty limited, right? So I would not go for a very full dose of fertilizers, right? But maybe sometime some light fertilizing once in a while. So something like half the recommended amount and then at 2 times the recommended frequency. So for example, instead of they recommend 2 spoons of fertilizers every week. So with the idea of light fertilizing, right, I would probably do like half a spoon, right, and every 2 weeks. So you get the idea. So as you can see, maidenhair ferns, they may not be the easiest plant to grow. But if you get the conditions right, if you understand well, if you do your research properly, right, and if you can create that condition for them, they are pretty much very straightforward to grow. So that's the power of the grow method. Right? It allows you to have that clarity and break down the different components that you need, right? And it gives you that direction on how to tackle a more challenging plant with ease, right, without stress and with a lot of confidence. Right, so and when you see your plants grow well in your specially designed, specially created environment, the sense of achievement, I can tell you, is beyond what you can describe. So that's the fun of gardening. So I hope you like this video, and if you want me to review any kind of plants, any particular plant you have in mind, make sure you comment below and let me know. If this is the first time you are watching my videos, I bet you have learned a lot from this video itself, right? So make sure you watch my other videos and click on the subscribe button below. Right? Every week, right, I talk about different kinds of plants, right, using the grow method and other kind of gardening topics as well. So until next time, I will see you in the next video.